The moment I stepped through the front door, I froze. My house was filled with cardboard boxes, big, small, and stacked to the ceiling. My in-laws stood there smiling like they were hosting a party. "Welcome home!" my mother-in-law beamed. For a second, I thought I had walked into the wrong house. But no. This was my living room, and those were definitely my things buried under bubble wrap and confusion. I had been at work for only 8 hours. 8 hours, and everything had changed. Something about their smiles didn't feel right. I sensed something bigger was going on. I tried to stay calm, but questions rushed through my head. Why were they here? Why all these boxes? Why didn't Greg, my husband, tell me? "Surprise," he said casually, walking out from the kitchen like this was some joke. "My parents are moving in." My heart dropped. "What?" I asked, hoping I misheard. "They weren't happy at my brother's place," he added. "So I offered our place instead. It's not a big deal." But it was. It was a big deal, because no one, not Greg, not his parents, had asked me. Our home had always been a shared space. Greg and I had worked hard to make it ours. After my father passed away last year, my mother and I slowly rebuilt a peaceful routine. She had started smiling again. But now her smile vanished the second she saw the boxes. The room that once held my father's books and memories was now filled with someone else's furniture. The shelves were emptied. His chair, gone. Greg had cleaned it out without telling me. "I thought it was time," he said. "It was just collecting dust." My blood ran cold. I stormed into the hallway, pulling Greg aside. "What gives you the right?" I whispered harshly. "That was my dad's room. You had no right to touch anything without asking." Greg shrugged. "Your mom's okay with it." I turned to look at her. She wasn't okay. She stood stiffly by the door, avoiding eye contact. She didn't say a word. And that silence? It spoke louder than anything else in the room. I knew my mother. She was heartbroken. She was being polite. And now she was being pushed aside in her own home. That night, my mother went to her room early. She didn't eat dinner. Meanwhile, Greg and his father drank beer in the living room, laughing as if they'd just come back from a vacation. His mother unpacked loudly, clanging dishes and humming. I tried to talk to Greg again, but he waved me off. "Don't start another argument," he said. "It's done." I slept terribly, replaying everything in my head. I kept hearing the boxes being opened, like the sound of my father's memory being buried, one cardboard box at a time. The next morning, things got worse. I found my mother-in-law standing in front of the washing machine with a pile of laundry. "Here," she said, handing it to me. "You don't mind adding ours, right? You're so good at this stuff." I was stunned. She spoke as if I was the housekeeper. I looked around at the chaos. Dirty dishes everywhere, furniture shifted, my belongings moved. My mother was in the kitchen, trying to keep busy. But she didn't belong in that mess. Neither did I. This wasn't our house anymore. It had been invaded. After Greg refused to listen, I called his brother. "Did you know your parents moved here?" I asked. "Greg said he told you." There was a pause. "Yeah, he mentioned it, but I didn't know it was official," his brother replied. "They can't stay with me anymore. Amy and Mom don't get along." I sighed. "Well, they can't stay here either. This is my family's home." His voice got colder. "Then you and Greg should work it out." He hung up. I realized then, no one else was going to fix this. I'd have to do it myself. Greg kept pretending everything was fine, but it wasn't. The tension grew thicker with each passing day. My mother began spending more time out of the house. She didn't want to be in her own home anymore. I found her at a library once, reading quietly in a corner. "Just needed a change of scenery," she said with a sad smile. But I knew better. She was hiding. Escaping. I asked Greg again. Why not move your parents to the third floor? Their knees hurt, he said. Let your mom go up there. My jaw clenched. This was unbelievable. My mother never complained. She just kept stepping aside. Even when her own bedroom felt more like a guest room now, she stayed quiet. One night, I found her folding clothes with a gentle smile. Let them stay, she said softly. They're family too. But I saw the tiredness in her eyes. Her silence wasn't approval. It was sacrifice. That's when I made a decision. I wouldn't let Greg take over our lives. I wouldn't let him erase my father's memory or push my mother aside. I had to do something, fast. I started by trying to salvage my father's belongings. I contacted a junk removal company Greg had used, and to my relief, found out many items had been placed in temporary storage. I immediately arranged to transfer them to a secure location. When I told my mother, she nodded, her eyes welling up. Thank you, she whispered. That same day, I watched Greg lounge in the living room, beer in hand, laughing at the TV. He didn't even notice I was watching him. I realized in that moment, he wasn't the man I married anymore. 3 days passed, and my in-laws showed no signs of moving out. They settled in like they owned the place. My mother-in-law even invited her sister over, showing her around like a tour guide. I was boiling inside. I told Greg we needed to talk. Later, he said, brushing past me. That's when I handed him the divorce papers. We're done. He froze. You're kidding. No, I replied. You don't respect me, my family, or this house. Greg laughed bitterly. Then I'll sell this place. You can't, I said. It's in my name. His face turned pale. Greg tried to act tough, but I saw the panic in his eyes. That evening, movers showed up at our door. My mother had arranged it all, quietly, decisively. She greeted them with calm confidence and began directing the removal of Greg's parents' belongings. Greg exploded. You can't do this without telling me. My mother stared him down. You did the same when you threw away my husband's things. Her voice was quiet but firm. We're not living like this anymore. It was the first time she had spoken with such finality. Greg was speechless. Just when things couldn't get more chaotic, the intercom buzzed. A major news station had picked up our story because my mother had posted about our situation on social media. Our house, our family drama, everything was now public. My daughter's husband is ruining our peace, the post read. It had gone viral. Greg turned pale watching the news. I can't go to work now. They'll know, he shouted. But it was too late. The story had spread. Our house was on TV. His reputation was falling apart, just like our marriage. Greg submitted the divorce papers the next day. He left in a rush, dragging his suitcase behind him. His parents followed, confused and angry. I didn't care. For the first time in months, the house felt quiet, peaceful. I walked through each room, restoring my father's books, his chair, his framed photos. My mother and I sat in the living room and shared tea. He's gone, I said. She nodded, eyes closed, as if letting go of a long-held breath. Let's keep this home the way your father would have wanted, she whispered. I've started working again, slowly, at my own pace. The house is quiet now, filled only with the soft hum of my mother's radio and the sound of wind through the curtains. The third floor is mine again. My father's study is back in order. His presence is still here, somehow. I think he would be proud. I know the future is uncertain, especially with my health, but I'm ready for it. This home, built with love and patience, will remain a sanctuary. For me, for my mother, for the memories we cherish. But not everything ends so neatly. A week after the divorce, Greg started messaging me. I made a mistake. Please forgive me. Can I just borrow some money? I stared at the screen, disgusted. Even now it was about money. I blocked his number. My mother smiled when I told her. You've grown strong, she said. I smiled back. For the first time in a long while, I believed it. As for Greg, word spread quickly at his office. He was reassigned to a different branch far from the city. I heard he's working long hours, barely scraping by. Karma, perhaps. I don't feel sorry for him. He made his choices. He threw away more than just boxes. He threw away trust, family, and love. And for what? Convenience? Control? The man I once loved was long gone. Life now is quiet, and that's just how I want it. My mother and I go for walks in the park. We cook simple meals. Sometimes we sit on the porch and talk about my father. She's teaching me to make his favorite stew. Add more salt, she says, just like he liked it. Those little moments, those are the ones that matter now. They are the ones I protect. I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I hadn't come home that day to those boxes. What if I had just stayed quiet? Let Greg take over? But I didn't. I stood up. I made a choice. That choice cost me a marriage? Yes. But it gave me something far more valuable. Myself, my strength, my peace. This house, my father's legacy, still stands. And so do I. Every room tells a story. Every photo holds a memory. And every quiet night is proof that peace, once lost, can be reclaimed. I'll keep protecting this place, not just for my mother or my father, but for the woman I've become.